Hello and welcome to the Parenting Tools podcast. My name is Jason.
And my name is Jordan. This is the podcast where me and Jason talk about our lives as fathers, parents, and everything that comes with it. So Jace, this week we've got a guest. It's a guest episode. A friend of mine called Mark, the chef.
Mark the chef.
Who has roped us into a 10K.
I was going to attempt to try and do a jingle then, but it just didn't come naturally.
Mark the chef, everyone, it's Mark the chef.
Yeah, that's brilliant. But he has roped us into running a 10-kilometre run.
Yeah.
To be clear.
So Mark approached me a few weeks ago and said, look, I want to raise some money, raise awareness for disabled parents. We're starting to raise money for leukemia and MS. One thing that Mark said to us off camera, which was really quite stark for me, his mum was diagnosed with MS, and he'll explain it all later. When he was about 6, and she was in a wheelchair when him and his sister were 6, 7, 8. I don't know how do you do? It's hard enough to parent when you've got all your functions. But when you're in a wheelchair chasing kids around,
They're absolutely phenomenal. Like, can't fathom the challenges.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm going to talk about that a bit more later on, and also share how you can sponsor us as we endeavour not to die.
I mean, I've been swindled. I've been hoodwinked.
There's a lot of hoodwinking goes on in this podcast.
But yeah, it'd be lovely if you could sponsor us as we... hopefully I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
That's the main goal.
I believe in you.
I believe that you can run it.
I mapped out 10K today, and it's really far. It is. It's further. It's deceptively far. It's further than I thought. But I've ran... so what it was, I ran 8K. I did a loop around here. And I thought, it's got to be marathon distance. It's 8K. Still got 20% to go.
Like, I want to be able to run so that when my daughter is older and wants to do things like running or cross country, if she ever wants to do that, no pressure, but I could do it with her and not just be like, have fun.
Yeah. See, I think I'll just be saying that anyway. You want to run 10K? Off you go.
I just always wanted, all the gear. I want to be that dad that knows what he's doing, that can actually run.
I really want to play football with my lad.
Yeah.
I play football 5-a-side with a father and son on a Thursday, and I think that's so cool. I can't wait. Hopefully I can still do it. Have
you looked into like toddler football teams?
I don't think I'd get on one. They won't let me in. But like a soccer tots thing. Yeah, this summer. Soccer
really?
Tots. I've always had this thing of, until they ask to do something, I'm not going to force them into it. Partly because they don't want to force them into anything. Partly because they're not asking me. Why would I give up my time? But now they're like at that age, especially my son, he's at that age where he can now do that kind of thing. I think, I'll get him involved. And if he loves it, he loves it. If he doesn't, we'll do something else.
Yeah, it's just like getting kids to do a variety of things. Like I've been trying to teach Noah to play football. One of the soft plays we go to, there's a little football pitch, and also been a chance for me to play football, but but she loves it, and so I think as soon as I can find one of those little teams, I think she'd love it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
She
might hate it.
So Jace, today is the 13th of February.
Yes,
and you know what that means. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Do you know, I'm glad you clarified that, because I was racking my brain.
I could tell.
We're not big on celebrating Valentine's Day. Only this year, because
I've just found that out.
Yeah. We have mentioned it to each other, me and my wife, but both in the kind of context of, it's Valentine's Day. Should we see how little we can get away with? And we've decided we're just going to have a nice meal together in the house.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Nothing more.
Well, our wedding anniversary is later on this week. Every year. Not just this week. It's February every year. 7 years.
7 years.
Feeling itchy. Getting that itch. But I said to my wife, well, we don't do Valentine's Day, do we? Because it's our anniversary. She said, no, we do. She says, you are somehow trying to make it not a thing. And she said to me, I didn't get married to you in February so you could dip out of Valentine's Day. So after we finish wrapping up, I need to pop out, buy a card or something.
Oh, yeah. Do it. Do the full works. I did buy my wife flowers today.
Lovely.
Yeah. I forgot it was Valentine's Day.
You got the wrong day.
They got the flowers out in the shops though now, haven't they?
Yeah.
So it makes it easy.
So you just thought, I'll buy some flowers?
Yeah.
That's lovely. So the opening question this week comes from me.
Ooh.
Yep. I am pulling rank. And I want to know. So Noah, picture the scene, set the scene. Noah is out for the evening. She's staying with in-laws. Yep. She out on the town. She's out. She's away overnight.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is your ideal date night, kid-free?
Genuinely, we start this off every single time when Noah's either at the in-laws or that's the only place that she goes, either hers or mine.
Or out clubbing.
Or just out clubbing. We always start with good intentions of, let's get a good night's sleep tonight. But then the tension is there of, we never get this opportunity.
That's always my question.
So let's make the most.
Do you early night or do you late night?
So we will often book somewhere to eat, go out. That's nice. Sometimes go to the cinema.
Yep.
That's quite an easy thing to do.
Do you fall asleep at the cinema?
No.
I would do.
Really?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Unless I napped in the day before.
I'm quite simple. I quite nice restaurant, maybe watch the cinema, get some cookie dough afterwards.
Oh, sweet mercy.
And then go home. That sounds delightful.
Amazing. That does sound really nice.
I could do that right now. That'd be great.
Well, we've got an episode to record, but thank you for the offer.
What about you? What was your perfect date night scenario?
I think much of the same. Out for dinner, somewhere nice, somewhere where you don't want to take your kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a nice...
Yeah.
Not that well, yeah. There's some places you just won't take your kids.
And you don't want to be around other kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then you've got to pick your time.
Yeah.
When do you go? But then don't want to be eating too late.
Because you're accustomed to a certain time.
Yeah, because of the sleep. Mess my stomach up. Eating at 4:30 most days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think out for dinner, maybe a steak. We're going out for steak actually on Saturday for our anniversary.
That sounds... To be honest, that's what we've done the last few date nights. Steak.
I love a steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a steak. And then, why not? Cinema. Go out maybe for some cocktails. I love a mojito.
Nice. Is that the minty one?
That is the minty one. Yeah, I love a mojito. Oh, steak,
All I can think
cocktail.
about is steak now. Do you know when I first met Em, she was a vegan?
Really?
Yeah, I'd never met her before.
Oh my goodness. Come on. He's got me again. Oh, that's the best. Yes. Come on now. It just gets... Do you know, when you started with the chicken crossing the road and the bacars, I was like, no way can you sustain this.
I've been waiting on that all week.
So good.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know this time. I think it's an online generator. But genuinely, when we're talking about like date nights and Valentine's Day, it does pose the tricky situation as parents, doesn't it, of when you have adult time.
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the joke. I wasn't expecting that.
It's a serious turn.
It did. I don't know how to respond to that.
It's just, you have to juggle between the choices of sleep.
Yep.
If the kids are in the house, the very possible solution that the kids are going to disrupt.
Yep. Get a stage invader.
Yeah. Or you just go enjoy the long sleep night.
Or do you think, do you know what? It's 10:30. Let's just call it a night. No, it's a good question. I feel like we need a bit more time to discuss this.
It's not one that I wanted to discuss in great detail. Trying to...
Family-friendly podcast.
But it's an important topic.
Well, if we term it as romance, and that includes a whole host of activities, doesn't it? From quality time to talking, because this is a thing that my wife tagged me in the other day, or I tagged her in it, one of the two. Because that's how we communicate now, just tagging each other in parent memes. Where it was like, us trying to have a conversation, and it was, do you know The Hangover, the film?
Yeah.
Because I just want to make a toast, and then Alan jumps in and goes, I just want to say, and it's like, and our toddler jumping in every time, and that is us. Every time we try to have a conversation, it's like, oh, it's time to speak now, and then one of them will just jump in. So there are some times where we don't have an in-depth conversation till we get into bed.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I'm shattered. So, let's...
Now's not the time for talking.
Yeah.
I want to sleep.
Never mind anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you find that quality time?
And I think that's so important, though, because it is more of that side of romance, but also just keeping your relationship with your spouse just in the same place of not... Because when you're both just fixed on looking after the kids and working and just getting through, you can easily go like a week or two without kind of looking after that side of your relationship, and it's like, oh wow, like then you hit it and go, oh yeah, we've not actually properly spent good time together.
Yeah, I love our friends and I love our family, but I think it was last Friday, got a text saying, what are we doing tonight? It's like, nothing. And do you know what, I couldn't wait. New Clarkson's Farm season started. So we had a this might have been Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. We had like a farm tea, a bit of bread, a bit of chutney,
Nice.
some cut meats, some cured meats, and we watched Clarkson's Farm.
Really immersing yourself into the world.
Oh mate, it was great. Some cheeses, grapes. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. But that was the first time in a while that we have just spent time together, the two of us, because we've been doing stuff with friends and family, not just looking after the kids. But it was great just to sit and chat. It's
genuinely one of those things that, like, you hear a lot, like when you're getting married, like, oh, make sure you got a date night, all that sort of stuff. And when you get kids, it's important to have a date night. I've genuinely found like one a week is still sometimes like just not a date night, but actually having several times in the week where it's like, this is just our time just to chat and just to be together. And what we've been doing, which has not been great for the sleep, is like the time that we've had is like 9-10 o'clock at night, and we've actually been going to bed at midnight and just going, oh, we're going to be tired, but actually this is better just for our relationship, and for our life.
And then you're arguing the next day because you're shattered, just really getting at each other.
Oh, amazing. So Jordan, earlier today we asked 2 questions of 2 important women to both our lives.
To Valentine's.
To
very special Valentines in our lives.
Our mums.
And our wives.
Yeah.
So what did we ask them, Jace?
We asked our mums what was the weirdest thing about your kids having kids.
Yep.
But also, what was it, the proudest thing? What were you proud of?
I just asked my mum what the weirdest thing is. And I asked my wife what the thing is that she's most proud.
So I asked my mum what the best thing about being a grandparent is.
Go on.
And the weirdest thing. We'll start with the weirdest one. It's my mum. She said, the weirdest thing about being a grandparent is seeing your own child now parent their child in some of the ways that you did. And you know what's to come in the toddler tantrums and the teenage years.
Oh, teenage years.
It's like history repeating itself. There's some implied there of in some of the ways that you did. There's other ways that she knows are better.
Some. Not all. That's funny. Has she said anything else? She dropped anything else?
She then said the best thing about being a grandparent, and she's given me a 4-pointer.
Oh, nice.
4 points. Number 1, seeing my kids become parents and knowing they get to feel that amazing parental love that I've been enjoying since they came into my life. Oh,
that's lovely.
That's very lovely.
Shout out Linda.
Watching them parent their children fills me with so much joy and proudness. Oh, that's touching. That was only point number 1, though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, point 2. There is something incredible about witnessing the growth of your family and watching the future unfold. Do you know, that's something that actually later on with our guest talks about, of like building your family. Like, that is pretty special. And then I'll read these other 2 quickly because they're paragraphs. Seeing family traits re-emerge is amazing. Those little quirks within your grandchildren, a certain facial expression, a favour towards certain foods, or a familiar temperament. That's quite fun, isn't it? Like when you see, oh, they really like their mum or like their grandparent.
Yeah. It's frightening when you see yourself.
Yeah.
Just think, dear me.
Yeah, my daughter started doing this thing now that when she gets up, she goes, oh. I'm like, She's got that from me. And lastly, she said this: you get to enjoy your grandchildren without the 24-hour responsibilities of parenting.
Yeah.
She put, i.e., fill them with sugar, keep them up late, and then hand them back.
They do it on purpose.
I think they do.
They all joke about it, but they all do it.
Genuinely. Yeah.
So, my mum said, realising that your babies have grown up, it's a different feeling to when you get married, or when you got married. It's also scary because you think, this kid of mine now has to take some responsibility. I think that's aimed at me more than my sister. So yeah, thank you, Jan. Much appreciated. And I asked my wife, so we were talking about our proudest moments of our kids, and we were saying how hard it is to pin down. So I said to my wife, what are your proudest moments of the kids so far? She said, for Mila, it's so hard to pinpoint, but recently her talking, getting across what she wants and joining in our conversations. There you go, just been saying that. Every time we try to talk to each other, she's there, just babbling away. And she has the best sense of humour. Her latest thing in the back of the car is singing Balamori and singing and smiling when I turn around. So yeah, we've gotten into Balamori.
Oh, what's the story? That one?
Yeah, throwback.
Oh, come on.
But for whatever reason, we started watching Balamori. And she sings, she can't say the word, but she sings the tune.
That's so cute.
And then as soon as we look around, she just beams at us because she knows it's funny. And she said, for Luca, when people comment on how polite he is, we were in Aldi the other day and he said, excuse me, can I get past please?
Oh.
On the way to getting some smoothies, and he melted everyone's heart. He then put them in the wrong trolley, put them in someone else's trolley. And this week he wrote his name clearly on a Valentine's card.
Oh.
And she's put, I'm so proud of them together. Sibling love can be it can be the sweetest thing when they are gentle or cuddle or have little conversations. The other day we heard Luca in his room talking to Mila saying, I'm so proud of you, my girl. And those little glimpses make it all so worth it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Honestly, they're the best.
We asked my wife the same question and she sent through a voice note.
To be honest, I think it's something new every day, like you guys said before, of what I'm proud of Noah for. They just do so much, don't they? Like every day they're learning something new. So like the latest thing with Noah is, so she's like, counted to 10 for a while, but like actually being able to count things rather than just say the numbers 1 to 10 and know the pattern. It's probably the latest one that I went, oh, that's so good. And I was so proud. I guess on a more serious note, for us, recently she's been struggling after a blood test, so she's been quite scarred by it. Like we've been struggling every time I wanted to take her clothes off and stuff. She was really worried about it, but recently seeing how she's processed that and started to do stuff that she's been afraid of. And what did you do today, Noah? You conquered the slide? Yeah, you conquered the slide. You say, I conquered the slide.
I conquered the slide.
You conquered the slide, which was something she was scared of. And seeing her do it and enjoy it was just, made me very proud. Especially after sort of everything with the blood tests and stuff. She developed a bit of fear around stuff she used to enjoy, but seeing her overcome that and enjoy it, it's made me really proud.
Oh, conquered that slide.
Conquered the slide.
Boom.
Genuinely is... Because she got scared of everything. I think I mentioned it last week, the blood test. She just was like scared of taking off her clothes and stuff. It went to everything. She was scared of like loads of stuff that she used to enjoy. And then I took her to the park. She didn't want to go on the slide or the swing. And I was like, oh, come on, you can conquer it. And she was like, didn't understand what it was. And then now she just loves it. She loves the word conquered.
Amazing. So thank you to our Valentines, our wives and our mums.
Should we jump into this week's special guest?
Let's talk to Mark the chef.
Mark the chef.
Mark the chef.
Well, hey, Mark, welcome to the podcast. So good to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
I'm just going to boo you. Boo.
Why?
For roping us into this 10K.
Oh, no.
Nobody forced you.
It's your fault.
I feel forced. I'm not going to lie.
I think Jordan forced you, yeah. I mentioned it to Jordan, and then I think he did it out of kind of guilt, probably. Or
Out of the kindness of my heart.
Yeah, to look after me, maybe. Probably.
So as it's Valentine's Day, Mark, tomorrow, I thought we'd get you on the pod. Because nothing says romance like inviting your friend on the pod.
Yeah.
So, Mark, for the listeners who don't know who you are, who are you? What do you do? What have you got?
What we've got, yeah. Mark, obviously. I am a building surveyor of all things, which sounds as boring as it is. And I've got a little girl, nearly 2, called Eve.
What a legend.
Yeah. She's little Eve. Little Eve is a bit of a nightmare when Luke is around together, aren't they? They can be a bit of hard work.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
So, Mark, you mentioned you're a building surveyor, and my first question is, have you had any horror stories going into houses and looking around? There's got to be some grimness that you see.
You see all spectrums, let's put it that way.
What's the worst end of the spectrum?
You see all kinds of interesting things when you're lifting sewers, let's put it that way. When you're lifting manholes, you're hoping there's nothing there. So that's interesting.
But
sometimes.
Often there is,
sadly, especially in and around old properties. So yeah, you have to kind of just take that with a pinch of salt, I'm afraid, and you just have to go, it's horrible. Can't do anything about it. But trying to report that in a report, it could be, yes, it can be a bit nasty.
How do you word it?
Yeah, how do you word blocked? But that's one. Another one which is quite interesting is I call it the waterfall house. It was an evaluation. Opened the door. It was middle of December. I think it'd been really cold, and then Sean tell you that there was a burst pipe. Opened the front door, and it was like watching a waterfall come down the stairs because it was leaking pipes everywhere. I managed to get out of it just before my feet were too wet, but closed the door behind me. Yeah, you see it all. It is relatively boring sometimes, as in it's not exciting, but there are some fantastic properties you go to and it's like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. You're like, £2 million houses. You're like, what am I doing here? This is unbelievable. Their garage is bigger than my house, kind of thing. But yeah, look, I love it. It's good fun. I'm out on the road a lot, but which means I get to listen to some fantastic podcasts.
and
this one. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
See,
that was really nice.
You mentioned your house. We'll circle back to that in a bit. Yeah. But a few weeks ago when I said about the 10K, I referred to you as the chef.
Yeah, fine.
Because you are king of the kitchen.
It's the only place I'm allowed at home.
So we've had a question from a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Freddie, and he's asked, what is your favourite cuisine? I'm going to pop that out there to the table.
Ooh.
So what's your favourite cuisine to eat?
Yeah.
And also to cook?
I think you know the answer to cook. I think you do.
I'm going to put tapas.
Yeah.
This guy.
That's a wife's. The wife's vegetarian, so tapas is a good option.
So what are we talking in, like? What items of tapas?
What else is on there? Well, I want to give you a shout out because we made a friend.
You made a friend?
We made a friend, yeah, out of tapas. We made a friend from Iran who's a refugee over here, and it was his birthday. So Mark volunteered to do an authentic Iranian meal for him, and he loved it.
It was good fun. It was good fun.
Great. So shout out to you for that. That was so nice.
When was it? January, and we did the barbecue obviously outside because why not? And it was really cold, but it was worth it. Yeah, it was good fun actually. And those kind of things. I steal a lot of things from obviously before children going out for dinner, and working in restaurants from years ago. You just steal things, and it was nice. I enjoy it, but it was it's nice to have people over for dinner. I do like it.
What constitutes tapas? Like what are the guidelines?
I think they're supposed to be snacks.
So it's whatever it is, as long as it's in snack form.
Yeah, it was or small plates. I would have thought something like that. But you're not supposed to have it as dinner. I don't think. I think it's supposed to be just like a little snack with a drink in a bar. Snacks. But as English, you've kind of ruined it slightly, made it into a massive dinner.
It's not like English people.
No. I think anyway, it's a bit broad. But
what about you? What's your favourite cuisine to both eat and prepare?
Pizza. Simple pizza. Although getting a pizza oven has ruined me because now I can't just settle for the little frozen pizzas.
It's not the same.
I have to go for like proper dough. I have to do the whole process, and I love cooking it because it takes 30 seconds.
Yeah, they are cool, aren't they?
Such a mess though, isn't it?
It is, but I despise cooking now since getting that. Everything else just takes too long. What about you?
I like Chinese. I like to eat Chinese. I can't really cook.
Any particular dish? Or did you have all of it? You just have a spread?
All of it. Chinese tapas.
Chinese tapas.
Go for all of it.
Yeah. Chinese. I think it's called a buffet, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the better word for it.
Oh, amazing. So you've been a dad for almost 2 years?
Yep.
We'll start with the positive questions.
Yeah.
What's one of the best things about being a parent?
I was thinking about this over the last couple of days, and it's really hard to kind of nail it onto one thing. But it's just those little moments when she's at that age now where she can start to interact a little bit, which is great. And you can just see the joy in her face, and you're just like, okay, yeah, you didn't sleep last night, you've been screaming, but that just cancels it all out, and it's amazing. And it's just those little interactions now, and it's just like, it's amazing just to see her a smiling face and jumping around and having fun. It's great, and that just makes all the hard work, as it were, just worth it. It really is. It's good.
They get you, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
Sneaky.
They can be so naughty during the day, and then they'll do that one little thing, and you're just like, okay, I forgive you. Fair enough.
Yeah. This comes up, doesn't it, a lot? We talk about moments.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about proud moments last week, and it's just so hard to pick one.
Yeah.
They just stack, and it's something new every day. Someone asked us, what's your favourite thing that they do, or the funniest thing they do? And we were just like, well, what have they done today? It's just something new every single day. And the age that Eve's at is so brilliant because they come out with different words.
Yeah.
And they try and talk. And
Completely
you're like,
out of context.
can you say door? And they're like, bleh. And it's like, just...
Close enough.
Yeah. But like, you just love them for trying, even though they're nowhere near. Oh, that's amazing. And you became a dad in lockdown, right?
Yeah, the back end of lockdown, yeah.
And you'd not long moved to a new area.
Yeah. So April. We moved into the house in January, February. So we weren't even a year kind of here, I don't think, by the time you turned up.
She rocked up.
It just rocked up. And yeah, it was difficult in the sense that we didn't go to Esther did a lot of online classes and those kind of things, and probably didn't. I think she got some friends out of it, but probably not a group that she probably wanted to keep up afterwards, because everything was online. It wasn't as interactive, as it were. And then hospital-wise, I think I was relatively lucky compared to a friend of ours who was only 3 months earlier. He had to sit in the car park for 3 nights continuously, because they didn't know obviously when, but he wasn't allowed in. So he was just sat in the car park ringing me up going, what do I do? Do I go home? Do I wait? And he just slept in his car for 3 nights after work. So he went there after work, slept in the car, and then awaiting the little one to turn up. But I was allowed in. The hardest thing actually was Esther had to stay in overnight. I wasn't allowed to stay because of COVID situations and all those kind of things. So I had to go home and kind of just wait. You know, I knew they were healthy, they were fine, but I couldn't be there to support Esther in those first few hours, which was a little bit hard, but you couldn't really do anything about it. It was the way of the world, and you just had to kind of stick with it and be as supportive as you could. But apart from that, I think we were very lucky that we were able to have me there during it. It was fantastic and scary at the same time, but I think not having someone there, being able to be supported, must have been just so hard for people going through that. And my friend was saying, what do I do? Do I just sit in this car park? Do I go home? Do I wait for the phone call? You can't really have any conversation with somebody on a ward or anything. So yeah, it was a strange time, but it was we were very lucky that we were at the back end of it, as it were.
So when you went home, were people still able to come round, or was it like still really strict?
I think you were allowed people around. It's so weird to think about it.
Yeah,
like 2 years
bizarre,
ago,
isn't it?
Or whenever it was. I think so. Yeah, I don't think we were in restrictions of how many people you could have in a household, or 6 people, or those kind of things. I think grandparents were still quite aware of what was going around, so they didn't want to be around a lot of people. But yeah, I think we were lucky enough to have family over. I think we had the mother-in-law with us for maybe 10 days or so, just to help out for those first initial days, because you have no idea what you're doing, just kind of trying to work it out bit by bit. But yeah, as I say, back end of lockdown, I was lucky enough to be able to be there all for the whole labour, as it were. But it was a scary time for other people, I think.
Mm.
Wow.
And what are your initial thoughts when she gives birth? Are you like, oh, what do we do now? Or is it, I just love this little thing so much?
Yeah, definitely that. But it was also like, you could read up so much and think you're prepared, think you know everything. And you got home and we were like, what do we do? we thought we knew everything, not knew everything, but had everything kind of planned and in everything kind of places and all those things. But you just like, it changes every 5 minutes, doesn't it? And you get into a routine eventually, and then they kind of grow out of that and need something else. I was lucky enough that I was kind of just working from home at the point, working for myself. So I was kind of on paternity as it was, kind of 6 months ish, and that was lovely to have that time. I was never going to have that back, and that was kind of a decision that I knew I was going to start a new job at some point, and I just put it back as far as I could to make sure I had some time at home. Because 2 weeks is hard to go back to work straight away.
It seems crazy. Like, obviously our experience is different in the middle of lockdown, and I was in a similar boat to you of not having to go back to work straight away. 2 weeks seems like mental. Yeah, like it's a whole life change, and then you just got to adjust and get back. I can't believe people do that. It's crazy.
No,
maybe I'm just like so like weak and snowflakey.
But no, it is, and you want to be around and you want to be off. Like me, I didn't. Obviously, I wanted to go back to work because you've got to, but the thought of like, say, our grandparents' time, where it was like, right, we just go back to work the next day.
Yeah.
Or if you had a kind boss, they'd give you a few days off. No, like I wanted to be around and I wanted to be there, and especially when we had our second, I don't know if she'd have coped, but having just given birth and then having a toddler and a newborn, you want to be around to support your wife as much as you can. I'm pleased I had the time off I did, and 6 months sounds amazing.
I was doing a house at the same time.
There we go.
This leads on very nicely to the next question. So you've had a newborn and doing up at house at the same time. Yeah. First of all, like, how? My house looks like I'm doing it up.
Mine does now. Now that she's bigger, little jobs have become harder. You just can't do them. There's too much going on in life. And she must have only been 2 or 3 months, and she didn't go anywhere, and you could leave her somewhere and she slept most of the day, and it was great. And we were lucky enough to be able to stay in the old house before we moved while I ripped apart another one, and I didn't put it back together. Wow. But I ripped it apart good and proper. Because we couldn't live in it for 6 weeks maybe. I think we got it down to 6 weeks where we kind of ripped it apart and put it back together slowly. But it was just, I was thinking about it going, actually, could I do it now with her at this age? There's not a chance.
I'm about to say, I've got 3 pairs of blinds are 2 years old in my garage, still waiting to go up.
Yeah, you just can't get around to it. And you feel bad because you're like, I want to do it, but you just haven't got the energy sometimes. You get back from work and by the time you've done bedtime and I've walked the dog and all X, Y and Z, you're just like, I can't.
That's the other thing. You've got a nutter of a dog.
That's been nice. Energetic, I think, is the PC way of putting it. She just needs 2 walks a day. And you've seen her when you walk in, she can be a bit of a handful, but she's great with Eve, actually. In fact, Eve just follows her around like a lost puppy sometimes. But
I'd never thought of that, about a dog needing 2 walks a day. That sounds
ideal. A lot of time.
Yeah. That sounds great. 2 walks a day, headphones in. Got to go out, dog needs a walk.
Until it's freezing cold or absolutely tipping it down, and they're like, still want to go out, and you're like, no, I don't want to. But it was good fun doing the house. It was nice. It was great that we were just making a new home for a family, and that kind of spurred you on a little bit. It's a bit madness. Yeah, but I think doing it now would be even worse. You just couldn't do it. The little one running around, with power tools everywhere.
But did you get any photos of your newborn like trying to hold a drill?
We've got no, probably for legal reasons and social services knocking on the door. We have got ones of it in building site being supervised, I suppose. But it was good fun. It was hard work because you're not sleeping at that time much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of my in between jobs to make sure I was getting that done and kind of getting on really. So I certainly couldn't do it now, that's for sure.
Because they say moving house, getting married, having children is like the most stressful thing.
Yeah.
So you did 2 of the 3, but you didn't just move house, you did a fixer-upper.
Well, you give me a lot of credit. I ripped it apart and made
Still,
sure
though,
that people could do the right things.
Stuff to be done, not something you couldn't just sit down and...
Yeah, and obviously every time you try and contract something and put timescales in, you always get let down by somebody for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks turned into kind of 6.5, and it was getting a bit tight because we were like, can we actually live here at the moment? But it all worked out fine. We love it there, and it's. I've just got a list as long as my arm to keep doing jobs every night, but I'm never going to get around to them. So, which Esther's not fussed by at all. It's me. It drives me insane looking at something, going, I can do that. I need to do that, and then I've just got to try and forget about it.
And it's like the smallest of things.
Oh yeah, no one else will notice it.
Half an hour, 40 minutes, but getting that time is
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
Do I sit down and
And
enjoy
relax.
myself, or do I do another job?
Yeah. I'd try and do the other job and half do it and then have to do it again. 'Cause I've done it in a rush and made it worse. And then, by the time you've got all the tools out, you're like, oh, I need to go to bed now.
So for context for the listeners, your dog is a Dalmatian.
Yeah.
Have you had any kind of Marley and me moments where she's knocked the baby over?
She's got this tail.
Needs to go.
No, I don't think so, actually. Probably, no, not the opposite way. They get on really, really well, actually. She's soft as anything. They're really cute together. She's got a tail, which is at Eve head height now, where it's like a whip.
It is
And
like a whip.
she's had a couple of near misses, as it were, with the end of her tail. But it's more, Eve just follow, in the morning, she's like, obviously been on charge or overnight. Eve, she wakes up full of beans, and the dog's just like, what are you on about? Just chasing her around, trying to catch her or
Just leave me alone.
or pull her out of bed or something like that. So no Marley and me moments, but yeah, they're cute together, that's for sure.
Oh, that's lovely.
See, I'd love the thought of having a dog that grows up and on the pictures gets bigger
Yeah.
with the kids, but I
Yeah.
just don't think I've got the energy
Yeah, that's for me, to think of looking after another thing in the house at the moment.
that you
It's like,
can't put a nappy on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't entertain with Peppa Pig or something. That seems
No, but they do sleep a lot longer, though.
fair.
They entertain
Yeah.
themselves by just sleeping or eating, so they take less entertainment, I think. That's for sure.
So we've mentioned, for anyone who's new listening on the pod, there's a talk of a 10K.
It's no talk. We're signed up.
It's all happening,
It's
Jace.
happening.
It's all happening. What? First of all, for an international listener, what is a 10K?
Far too long.
It's a 10-kilometre run,
Yeah.
which if you work in miles is 6.2, 6.3,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
That's far.
And so we've all been training, haven't we, Jace? We've all been committed to training every week.
Yeah. Twice a week.
I've been mentally training.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So I thought
Yeah.
I'd start there and then sort out actually running afterwards.
Yeah.
And it is in a month.
Less than, I think.
A
Less
month
than a
yesterday.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 3 weeks now.
And so where are you, Jace, with the training? So
So-
I know, Mark, you've done a 10K already.
Accidentally.
Wow.
Showing off. I'm at 8.
So I calculated when as soon as we signed up to this, I downloaded Couch to 10K.
Yeah.
And if I'd followed the program exactly, I would have missed it by about a week. So I would have had to just sped up my training. I'm still technically in the first week of training
Yeah.
for the last 4 weeks.
There's going to be a lot of adrenaline going to push us through, I think, hopefully.
I'm just going to have to tie myself to
A lot of
someone.
heartburn.
Yeah. I might pass out.
Let's get a Red Bull and a Gaviscon.
Hope for the best. I think we could all, if you needed to, you could run 10K. And you saying it's mentality. It is. I think it is.
I think it's going to be one of those things that I will run it and then just deal with the consequences afterwards.
Yeah. It's a one-time event.
But I was saying before, I've not ran 10K collectively in my life.
I hate it. I hate running.
I should
But I think that was one of the reasons why, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my next question. So why did you come to us with this idea of a 10K?
Yeah, why are we doing
Why?
this?
Yeah. It's a good reason, I promise.
It's a great reason.
So we'll probably touch on there later when we're looking at the kind of charities and those kind of things. But my mum, who is currently going through leukemia treatment and chemotherapy, has also got MS. So I was thinking of ways of how to try to support her or to show that she's not really on her own a little bit, really, because she lives alone. She has carers and stuff that go in and help her, but it's quite a lonely place, and I can have a conversation with her, but it's normally about treatment or how you're doing, or we've had to make a lot of adaptations for to be independent at home, but that's always what the conversation was about. And actually, since we've been training for this, the conversation's now on how's your training. It's kind of taken a mind off it, really, which I didn't expect at all. It was just a bit of a crazy idea to go, actually, I'm not going to enjoy this at all, and this is going to be tough for me to do. Obviously, it's nowhere near what you're going through, but I think the time limit of where we were when we started, it was less than 10 weeks and I thought, actually, if we kind of did it further on in the year or in nicer conditions, it wouldn't be such a tough ask. And I think that was really it, kind of just show a bit of support, really, because there's nothing else I can really do apart from help her out with appointments and those kind of things, and hope and pray that it works out for the best. But it was just a great, I wasn't expecting all 5 of you to say yes. To be honest, I kind of mentioned it to a couple of people for more kind of, oh, can you help me train, just so I've got somebody to go with, because otherwise I might not do it myself. My wife's done a 10K, which was great, for other family reasons as well, and it just seemed a good thing to do. A bit crazy because of how short it was, from going from, I've done a park run before begrudgingly and kind of done it to support my wife, but I wouldn't say I enjoy running, that's for sure. It's not one of my favourite activities. Again, that's probably one of the ideas, really, just to do something that wasn't fun. And 2 great causes that we're trying to raise some money for, really.
No, it's great, good for you, and I'm happy to be doing it. I'm chuffed.
It'd be good fun. Good fun.
It's been I hate running as well, can't stand it, but I've enjoyed doing the training with you and
it's been good
the lads, and it's been fun. Even when we went and did the park run one Saturday and it was freezing, wasn't it?
It was more than
they
freezing,
did a ground check and we all crossed the finish line, and like, if you had a beard, you had snow in your beard. Like,
it was like ice, wasn't
it?
Yeah,
like snow was falling out my hair. It was freezing.
You couldn't
cold.
see more than 10, 15 yards in front of you because it was that icy, kind of foggy. It was cold. But if we can do it on a day like that,
exactly.
March will be cold as well, probably.
No, it's great, and I'm more than, obviously leukemia is a great cause to raise money for. MS is close to home for us as well, because my uncle had MS and he died at 33 when I was 7. So to me, he was always, even though 33 is young, and I always had the understanding of he died young, he was always old to me when I was that age. I'm 33 next year.
Wow.
And it was only when we started to raise money for this, I thought, hang on a second.
Yeah.
That is really young. And it hit home literally a few weeks ago how young he was. And now I realise how it took such a toll on my granddad.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, like, he was never the same again after my uncle died, my granddad. And I always thought, well, he was old and you had a good, life with him as an adult. But now I've got a son of my own. To lose him at 33 to anything but a disease that, really deteriorated him. I haven't got any memories of him up and about. I've always just got memories of him in bed. But it was only recently when I thought, that's me next year. I thought, let's get the trainers on and do some running. So thank you for getting us involved.
So what are the charities specifically?
So there's one for leukemia, which is Cure Leukemia. Obviously, their research is about finding cures for all types of leukemia. I didn't know how many there were. They're all very different and different diagnosis. And then the MS Society, which does a lot of support and also, I think, emotional support, a lot of it as well, for when you have diagnosis. It's fortunately a disease which is, as you said, it deteriorates, and my mum in particular has had kind of peaks and troughs, and it's hard to see. It's certainly hard to see. So both fantastic charities. They do great work, and hopefully, as you say, we can do something that's worthwhile and kind of push things in the right direction, hopefully.
Yeah. And you've been doing the park run with Baby in the Pram.
Yeah.
Speaking of pushing things in the right direction.
Yeah. Funny enough, I did one on Saturday without it and did a very similar time without it, which was quite worrying. So I think I might just do it with the pushchair, actually, and just at least I've got an excuse then. Kind of made up.
Extra support.
Yeah. Well, she just falls asleep.
I might have to.
Yeah, she does it. We do it. Obviously, it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning all over the country or whatever. But that's a really bad time for her to nap.
Oh yeah,
and she falls asleep. So I think I'm going too slow for her because she's like, "Oh, this is really nice." And by the time we've done the first lap, she like all the marshals are saying, "Oh, she's lovely. She's asleep." I'm like, "No, it's the wrong time completely for her to nap." But I haven't got one of those kind of sporty, racy buggy things because one, they're outrageously expensive, and two, I'm not that keen.
So she's just rocking around.
Yeah.
She's knocked out. She's not napping.
no, she wakes up afterwards. It's the G-force. It's the speed that I'm going. Yeah.
That's
I've been doing it. Well, I tried it with the, as you said, the mental dog. Impossible. You see some of these dogs when they're running on a park run down the side of the owner, quite happy, and no, Indy is off that way. Going to the toilet that way, ripping your arm off the other way. So yeah, it's not an enjoyable experience with a dog. The baby's been quite good though. It's something to lean on, I suppose.
It's a nice family activity.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So what we'll do is, if you listen to the pod, we have the link, don't we? Our link tree on Instagram and TikTok, where you normally find the episode links. We'll share the charity donation, the Just Giving pages. On those links, so keep an eye on our Instagram and our TikTok pages for that.
It'll also be in the description of the podcast as well.
Boom.
And the little show notes, so that'd be cool.
Great stuff.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I think so. I was quite scared, but
I've enjoyed how you're just very calm about everything.
No, you don't ask Esther that.
I absolutely loved it, and we said this before we started. You'd never listened to a podcast before you listened to this because
I'm waiting. There's going to be some kind of age-related joke here. I think.
And now you're on one.
Yeah,
amazing. Thank you so much.
What's TikTok?
What's TikTok?
Come in a box, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh dear me, minty fresh. Mark, thank you so much for coming
Pleasure.
on.
Thanks, guys.
Do keep your eyes out for those links, and we really appreciate you getting us involved with. I know we joke and boo, but thank you so much.
You won't
for
say
getting
that
us involved.
on the day. You'll be cursing me from a distance, probably.
Me and you next week, back to normal episodes.
Just me and you, baby.
Sorry to those that listen for the guests. But we'll catch you next week.